Good morning. This is April the 28th, Monday, 2025. We are in BBIS second semester compulsory English class, where yesterday we started Mary Jane Collier's essay, Understanding Cultural Identities in Intercultural Communication, where Collier begins her essay with her assumptions, her arguments, and her approach. And in the second paragraph, Collier presents her profile. For example, if you see the second paragraph of the essay, just a minute. So, in the second paragraph, take it easy, I have a lot of questions here. She presents her profile. In your file, in your book, I have written a lot of questions after every sentence almost. You are supposed to answer these questions and submit the answers to the teacher. If you see a question in your PDF file, if you see such questions in your book, you are supposed to copy these questions in the note copy, read the paragraph, write their answers, and show these answers, submit these answers to the teacher without being instructed. It's understood. So she presents a profile. This profile does two things. One, it helps you understand what has shaped her cultural identity. Because at one point, if you remember, she says that cultural identity is based on where one comes from, where one has been. So she gives her location, right? She describes the places she has been to. And then at the end of the paragraph, she describes her academic degrees and qualifications. And you need to understand that it is this background that shapes her cultural outlook. So your viewpoint of the world develops from your cultural location. And when I say your cultural location, I mean your geographical location as well as your race, your caste, your family background, your academic qualifications and everything. We read that last time, right? Then I remember Collier shares her belief, right? If you remember, she shares her belief. And what does she say? We need to understand what happens when two people belonging to two cultures come together without properly understanding each other's cultural identities. What happens? They engage in a conflict. And such a conflict may require violence or military solutions. A very fresh example you can see between India and Pakistan recently, right? So it's very important that you read this, what she believes in, because this is how her essay starts, right? She gives example here, very good example. She says that American people, how they look at the immigrants, they look at immigrants as the other. Americans, I versus them. Me versus them, I versus they. When you have this attitude, oh, they are the other, when you treat them as other, what will happen? You will have a bad feeling about them. You will not be able to be at peace with them, and then there will be a conflict. This is what is happening in America. I gave example. I cannot talk so openly because I heard that America is using artificial intelligence to scan through YouTube channels and find out who is saying what about America. So I won't speak so openly. But you understand what Collier is saying. This is her argument, that if immigrants and the Native Americans are at conflict in America today, the reason is that they are not trying to understand each other's cultural identities. Right? Okay. So this is also very important, as I said yesterday. It talks about, our behavior as human being or as cultural being. There is a word cultural being and there is a word human being. When you refer her as human being, you are talking about the biological basis of her existence, right? But when you refer to her as a cultural being, now you are talking about what is her caste, what is her race, what is her religion, what is her historical background, where does she come from, which school she went to, because all these are the things that shape her outlook. The way she thinks is determined by these factors. So there are two words, keep in mind, human being and cultural being. We are not concerned with the word human being here. We are concerned with the word cultural being. Now, as a cultural being, we regard something as true and we regard something as false. So how do we decide what is true for us? How do we decide what is true for us, right? Then it says that our religious background decides what is true for us. I made a call to my mother yesterday because it was a festival to show gratitude to our mothers. So because I am a Hindu, it's true for me, right? So I made a call. If we ask Yusuf, he didn't make a call like me, I guess, because it's not in his culture, right? He may make a call the other day, some other day. He may have another festival to show gratitude to parents, right? See the difference. So for me, truth is one thing. For him, truth is another thing. Now, the point to understand is that if we stick to our truth, we will fight. We need to understand, I should look at his truth, he should look at my truth, and we should be able to treat each other's perspective as acceptable. Then we will coexist. Otherwise, we will be fighting, right? Political background, right, and social context. These are the three factors that shape our perception of what is true and what is false. We read this, right? Then she says that it's very important that we study intercultural communication, right? What does intercultural communication means? How we are shaped as cultural being, right? How we do things, how we present ourselves, how we know about the environment, how we know about ourselves, how we know about other people, right? This is how our existence as a cultural being is shaped, right? Then we said that this communication is very extempore, unconscious and mindless. We don't think when we speak. We may be thinking, but it's so fast, we don't realize we are thinking, right? Then finally we said that, an important point, we said that we need to see the world from others' perspective. I remember a very famous scene from a Bollywood movie where Amitabh Bachchan stands and Amitabh Bachchan has written a word on his palm like this. He calls the other person, he says, okay, what is the number on my palm?
6.
9. What is the number on my palm? 6. Look, it says nothing. And she's saying it's 9, he's saying it's 6. Why? Because the perspective changes. Here I was standing this side, facing this side. So she said it's 9, sir. Here I stood this side and he says 6. So what is viewpoint? When you change your location or point, your view changes. When I am here, the view is 9. When I am there, the view is 6. So the point is, now we will fight. She will say it's 9, he will say it's 6, and they will fight. The two will fight. So they should understand. What they should understand? They should understand that the differences we have in the viewpoint is because our cultural location is different. And she should understand that from my point it's 9, from his point it's 6, both are correct. They should say we both are correct. We are not wrong, right? In the same way, when I look at things as a Brahmin, I see them one way. When Yusuf looks at the same thing as a Muslim, he sees the other way. But Yusuf and me have to understand that our cultural perspectives are different, so our understanding of truth is different. Otherwise, then we won't be fighting. Otherwise, we'll be fighting. Okay. See this word. See this phrase. Keep in mind. Alternative interpretations. This is very important word. This is why the world is fighting today. When you see India and Pakistan face to face, what is happening? India defines its own truth. Pakistan defines its own truth. India says the people who shot down 29 people, 30 people, they came from Pakistan. So Pakistan is harboring terrorism. This is what India is saying. And what Pakistan is saying, no, we are not harboring terrorism. We don't know them. We have no concern. So they are insisting. And now look, what is happening? India has closed down the rivers and Pakistan is not getting water. And any time there can be a war. Why? Because they are not thinking about alternative understanding. India sticks with his 9, Pakistan sticks with his 6, without realizing that our 9 and 6 are because of our standpoint, right? So it's very important. The point is, always understand the other. Always look from the viewpoint of the other. Then you will have coexistence in this world. Otherwise, you will fight. Okay. So, finally we said that if we respect the other, if we recognize the other, if we adopt the other's perspective, at least at the end we'll have moral life and ethical life. Moral and ethical life, right? Look what happens. Indian forces got into Kashmiri villages and now they're destroying houses. And they're claiming on television that these houses belong to the terrorists. And look what Kashmiri politicians are doing. They're saying, no, you are killing, you're destroying the houses of innocent people. Mufti, I forgot, ex-chief minister, yesterday, she made a call to the forces not to destroy innocent people's houses. And she said that while you are searching for terrorists, make sure you do not kill innocent people. See the differences. What is happening? Because we are not seeing the other's perspective. So what the essay says is very important, right? Then we said she requires us to read it as a dialogue. You can see certain ideas which you agree. There may be ideas you disagree. If you don't agree, note them, take notes, talk about these claims with a friend, have a discussion, right? Change ideas and search for alternative interpretation. This word is very important, alternative interpretation. we fight, we have violence. Why? Because we never think about the alternative. We say, it's my truth and I will die for it. Oh God. See, so dangerous. It's my truth. Jai Sri Ram, and I will fight. Oh God. Where I should believe that Ram and Allah are the same thing. But many will say, no, no, they are not same. How can they be same? Allah is mine, Ram is yours. And we fight. We never realize that Ram and Allah or Christ or anything, the ultimate is one. Right? And we fight. Look how useful things are there. If you follow these lessons, you will have peaceful life in your own field. Right? Okay. So we finally said we always be very careful how my behavior looks and sounds to other people. It's not enough to say, I'm okay. I should ask her, are you okay with me in this classroom, the way I'm behaving? Judge yourself by asking other people, how am I? Let other people judge you and then accept their judgment, right? So always see how you behave and look how it sounds to outsiders. If my behavior doesn't sound okay to outsiders, I should reconsider. It's not enough to say, "Malai yastai man parcha." It's not enough to say, "Ma jesu thik chu." No. How can you say? You are in society. You should never say, "Ma jesu thikai chu, malai yastai man parcha." You should say, "Ma jasto chu, tele aruलाई ke asar parirahछ." You should consider. Right? See, here I write the word stranger. Mary-Jane Kohli uses the word stranger. Let's write the word other here. Right? Other means the one you don't know. So always understand the other. Understand their words and actions until they become more familiar to you. Whenever you see a foreign person, a foreigner, somebody from other religion, somebody from another village, right? We have a funny joke from Newari society. Once there was a procession in the street carrying a dead body to Pasupati. And then this procession was chanting Ram Nam Satya Hai like that because they were carrying a dead body. Then hearing this noise, one, take it easy because it's a joke. I'm not offending anybody. Please be careful, otherwise there will be a cyber case against me, right, in the name of offending. So I'm very clearly saying I'm using this example to make people understand in my classroom. So they were chanting Ram Nam Satya, carrying dead body. Then a very, let's say, Newar family was by the roadside house. Then the lady, mother, asks to her daughter, go and look outside in the window. What's the noise outside in the street? Then the young child goes outside in the window and she looks outside. She sees people who are non-Newari people, faces, non-Newari faces, a lot of non-Newari faces, right? They were not local people. She comes back. This joke was told to me by a Newar friend. Then she says, Manumokhu pakhya. I don't know. He translated, oh mom, they are not men, they are not people, they are savages. So for this young girl, the people who didn't look Newar in the appearance, they were not men, they were not people, they were savages. Don't have this attitude. I brought an example of Newari people, it can be true to anybody. Anybody can treat other like this. You see the other and you say, Manumokhu pakhya. He is not man, he is not human being. He is savage. So when we see the other, we regard them as a savage and we fight. Please do not treat the other as a savage. Treat the other as a human being. Then you will have peaceful life, right? Understand the other. There's a beautiful essay on this I taught long ago in BA about the other by George Lukács. The essay's title is, I guess, The Scapegoat. Okay. So in this essay, now we are starting. In this essay, Collier is outlining an inventory. What is an inventory? inventory, for example, when you suppose you're in the kitchen, your things are used up, so you're going to market, then you ask your wife or husband, what should I bring? Then they tell you, bring these things, and you note down the items. And that list of items that you note down to bring from market, that's an inventory, right? So inventory is a list, right? So actually there are 10 steps in this essay, and these 10 steps are 10 steps of research. And if you read very carefully this essay, you will understand what is research. You will have a better idea about how research is done, where research starts, and how it moves, right? Okay. So you can use these steps to develop an understanding of intercultural event. You can understand, for example, you go to Jatra, Newari Jatra in Bhaktapur, Biscuit Jatra, you participate, you are a non-Newari fellow. Yusuf goes to Bhaktapur, and Yusuf is baffled, oh, how these people celebrate these things. Or you go to Yusuf's community, and you see his procession, and you are baffled, oh, what is this? Then you can use these steps to understand cultural phenomena. She says, right? We can use these steps, these questions to understand any cultural phenomena, right? You can improve your relation with other people using these questions. You can solve a social problem using these questions, right? And you can understand, using these questions, you can know how people form their identities in particular situation. For example, on Facebook, I take sides politically. I often take sides. For example, I take pro-monarchy side. Somebody may not like me. Look, why I take pro-monarchy side? Because I have that cultural background. My outlook, my views about monarchy is formed by my family background, my religious background, my political background. Now, so we start the 10-step inventory, right? As I said, this is designed to help us understand, evaluate diverse intercultural situations, to understand any cultural situation. Why she is giving this idea? Because all this essay starts from a situation in America where we have campus, and in the campus there are two types of students. There are immigrant students and there are native students. And these immigrant and native students, they have conflict. Why they have conflict? Because they have different cultural identities. The native students and the immigrant students in American campuses have conflict, quarrel, fight. Why? Because they have different cultural identities, and the problem is that each of them does not try to understand the cultural identity of the other. As a result, they treat the other as the other, and they fight. And she is proposing a solution to this problem. Throughout the essay, she uses this campus case to help you understand how to apply these steps, right? Okay. You can apply these questions to public meeting, group meeting. You can apply these questions to understand interpersonal conversations. You can apply these questions to understand this English classroom also, right? How things are going on. You can use these questions to analyze films. You can analyze how dialogue communication happens in a film. You can analyze it to interpret any television show or any column in newspaper or story in the magazine, right? Or you may see something in the internet. So you can analyze, you can use these 10 questions to analyze public events, group events, right? Your own conversations. I'm recording this and now I will transcribe. So this is a classroom conversation. I can use these theories to understand this conversation, or films, television. In 7th semester, 8th semester, when you do a research paper here in your BBIS as part of a study, you can analyze these questions to understand business world, for example. You can just go to New Road and observe how the seller and buyers interact, their communication, right? How they bargain. So you can use these theories, this model, these ideas to understand these cultural things. Okay, so let's quickly read the 10 questions. Then we'll see each. So what do I believe about communication and culture? See, in any research, you have variables and constant. A variable is an element that changes when another element changes because they are related, right? And another thing you are doing is research starts by defining your key terms. And because in this essay, communication and culture are the key terms, so Collier starts by defining them. You will see in the first step, she defines culture and communication, right? Then second, what questions do I ask? Every research has research questions. There is no research without research questions. If you have no questions, you get no answers. Who is a good researcher? One who can ask good questions, right? Second, you define your questions, what questions you want to ask, right? Then third, what issues do I want to investigate? Issue. What is an issue? A topic in which people have divided opinion. For example, Kashmir is an issue because India says Kashmir is mine, ours. Pakistan says it's ours. That's an issue because people are divided, right? Then you will read about how power and ideology emerge and how they affect intercultural communication. Look, in this classroom, I'm a teacher and I have been lecturing for the last 30 minutes. And I'm not allowing you to ask me anything. Look, why? Why? Because I'm all powerful in this classroom. Is this good? Is this bad? There may be a discussion. This may be a bad thing. Because I've been speaking and speaking for a long time with the assumption that you're listening to me carefully. You might have got quite bored by now, right? Power and ideology. Then what intergroup and interpersonal relationships do I want to investigate, right? The next question. What kind of messages will I examine? For example, if you take today's transcription of this classroom and analyze, this is a classroom discourse. Or you say, no, Divakar sir, I have my Facebook page and I want to see how my friends comment in my post. I'll analyze that. Or you say, no, Divakar sir, I'll go down to this reception and I'll spend one day there and I will listen very carefully what telephone calls the lady gets and how she speaks. That's the message. Or you say, no, Divakar sir, I will analyze the letters that Prabha ma'am writes to other places. What message do you want to analyze, right? So what messages will I examine? Then what is the context? Context is a very broad term. Context means the place. For example, the context of this class, this teaching, this classroom will be 2025 year, April, the month, 28th, the date, Little Angels College Management, the location, BBIS, narrowing the location, students, English class, this lesson, right? How is the surrounding, how is the environment, context. Context means who are the people involved, what is the place there, what is the time, people, place and time. Right? Then what are my findings? Oh, no. What perspective? What theory? Perspective means theory. There is no research without theory. There is no research without theory. So what theory do I apply to understand this data? Then what is my initial interpretation, initial understanding? What is my finding? Right? What are the alternative views? Finally, how I can apply this understanding to improve the quality of my and others' intercultural experiences. Why do you do research? You always do research because you have a problem. Why did Collier write this essay? Because she had a problem. What was the problem? The immigrant students and the Native Americans, they were in conflict. Problem. Then you have a problem, so you start the research. Then you ask questions. Then you answer the questions. By answering the questions, you solve the problem. By solving the problem, you improve the society. So what is research? Research is something that develops a society. Why research is so valued? Because it makes our life better. How? By identifying problems and helping us solve the problems, right? So the final step of research is you apply the knowledge you got to solve a problem, and you solve a problem. Now, if you apply the ideas in this essay, that conflict between the immigrant students and native students will be solved. That's the point. If you apply these ideas, India-Pakistan issue can be solved. Very true. Read carefully what Kolya says, and if India and Pakistan sit on a dialogue table, following her ideas, they can solve the problem. But the first point is, first you have to start by saying, I want a solution. But if you start saying, "Main pani band kar dunga," then there is no solution, right? There is no solution, right? You have to first say, I need a solution, right? I heard yesterday one Pakistani guy was saying, oh God, I was so horrified. What do you know what he was saying? A very old ex-army general, I guess. He was saying, we must drop the atomic bomb on India. Oh God. Look how they are treating each other. That's why they're fighting. They are not ready to understand the other. Not willing to understand the other. They don't want to solve the problem. They want to increase the problem. Look in Nepal, the conflict between teacher and government. Yesterday you saw in Baneswar what happened. Teachers tried to break the prohibited area, and the police did a lathi charge on them, and many of them were injured. See the conflict. Why? Why this is happening? Because the government and the teachers are not trying to understand each other. Government says, I am right. Oli says, I am right. Each teacher is like, look, it is truth. It is truth. Because you fail 52%, we won't listen to you. Government's truth. Teacher's truth. हामीले मात्रै फेल गराएको गार्जियनलाई भन्नु पर्दैन, सरकारलाई भन्नु पर्दैन. See the truth. What is the problem? They are not ready to look at the alternative view. Government says it's 6. Teachers say it's 9. The teachers are not ready to come here and look at it. The government is not ready to go there and look at it. Each of them is unwilling to change their positions. So please learn. When there is conflict, change your position and you will find a solution. If you stick, it's my position, I won't change, you will end up fighting. Right? When there is conflict, change your views, change your position and understand the other. Okay. So what Collier does is that because she is presenting a model of cultural identities that will help, as she says, to understand intercultural communication and solve a problem. So she is using the current debate in American campuses about the affirmative action. What is affirmative action? You have a discrimination that is supposed to benefit people. For example, in American campuses, immigrant students are given facility. Immigrant students are given facility. And now Native American students may argue that they don't need this facility, or that we also need to get the same facility. So this is the issue she is bringing. Okay. Then what is the debate? See, the debate is, should we run ethnic studies programs in American colleges? What is ethnic studies? Like, for example, courses about African people, courses about Asian people. There is a beautiful essay in the book you read last year, The New Directions. There is a 2-page essay where one Korean student who was born in America, she says that American history is wrong because it does not teach anything about immigrants. It teaches only about white people, right? So ethnic studies, women's studies programs, right? Then, teachers are brought from underrepresented groups. Here also you see, when you see advertisement by some NGOs, INGOs for job, they say Janajati, Dalit, lai prathamikta diinecha. Have you heard this thing in paper? They advertise for jobs and they say that Mahilalai prathamikta diinecha. Women will be given preference. Dalits will be given preference. Janajati will be given preference. And you might, if you are a Brahmin or if you are a Kshatri or if you are so-called upper class, you might feel, oh, this is discrimination. But that is called affirmative action. Because the argument is that women are backwarded, Dalits are backwarded, so it's a good idea to bring them forward in society. Right? So, immigrant students have ethnic cultural centers. They have international houses, right? They have separate residence halls. My own son is in America. He has got all these facilities. Now, as an immigrant student, right? So the facility that he is getting, by US government is paying money, huge amount of money. Right? This is why the argument is we need to do this to develop the whole world. And this debate, now see, the debate is, read very carefully, whether it is best to have programs and places in which students who have particular ethnic background, like Asians or non-Native Americans from countries outside the USA, may meet, socialize, and study in a safe environment of support, whether it is best to offer traditional programs that emphasize how to be. Now, there are two sides of the debate. One is this one. One side of the debate. The other side is this one. To see the two debates, whether we should have separate programs for ethnic students, or second debate is whether it is best to offer traditional programs that emphasize how to be successful in the United States. Should we focus on ethnic culture or should we focus on American culture? Hire faculty without attention to race, ethnicity, or sex. Should we, when we advertise, should we say 2 people from white race, 2 people from brown race, 2 people from Asian, or should we say no, only on merit based, right? Close the cultural centers and streamline funding by devoting resources only to students, activities that welcome all students. Should we spend money on all or should we spend money on immigrant? This is the debate. And she says you can understand this debate if you use my model or my theory. Because you see the two sides? This is Native American side. This is immigrant side. And the two are fighting because they are not trying to understand each other's perspective. Okay. Okay, she gives an example of a specific problem. She says, imagine. Now she is telling how to apply this theory. Imagine there is a campus, you are a student there, and imagine that the administrator on your campus has made a proposal. What proposal? To close all the cultural centers. The campus where my son is studying, they have a Nepali cultural center. And every Dasai, the campus gives them $100 or $1,500 to celebrate Dasai. If the cultural center closes, they won't get the money. See, so closing all cultural centers, like there are Black Student Alliance, there is Nepali Alliance, Hispanic Center, Native American Longhouse, and International House, as well as the Women's Studies, close them, proposal, right? Ethnic Studies, close them, proposal. And then do what? Open the residential hall to all students. See the proposal. Now, if your administrator proposes, will you accept it? If you are immigrant, you won't accept. If you are Native American, you will say that's a good idea, right? The moment you get divided, there will be a problem. Okay. So what is the argument? He says that when you separate immigrant students from Native American students, what happens? The immigrant students are not prepared to live in a culturally diverse global society. When you separate, you don't encourage diversity. How can you encourage diversity? By letting people come together. When Nepalese stay in one center, Americans stay in another center, they won't interact. They won't do much interaction. And when they don't do much interaction, then they won't come together and they won't understand each other's culture. The most effective way to understand the other's culture is to be with the other. If I go to Yusuf's home today, if I frequently visit Yusuf, if I attend the parties he goes to or his cultural festivals, I will better understand his culture. But if our society keeps us separate, he won't understand my culture, I won't understand his culture. Right? We know many Muslim communities in Gorkha who celebrate Dasai. Have you seen? There are Muslim communities who celebrate Dasai. There are Hindu communities who celebrate Eid in Nepal. That's a good idea. That's a good idea because each of them is knowing the other. Okay. Now let's go to the first question now, I guess. Okay, the first question. Yes. What do I believe about communication? The first question. Step 1. What do I believe about communication? And there are two terms. First is communication and second is culture. So what she will do now, in research, there is something called define your terms. When you do research, one most important thing to start with is clearly define what you mean by your key terms. If you do not define your key terms well, your research will be confusing. So there are two terms here, communication and culture. So what is communication? Communication is a process, he says very clearly. What is culture, she will define, right? Okay. Culture is a very broad term, she says, and many people think different way about culture. Now, look, she defines culture as what? Culture as a place. Take it, my example's easy. Many people, they should not say like this. They say, Shangjali. If you are from Shangja, you are supposed to be very cunning. Very cunning. So not every Shangjali is cunning, but people wrongly stereotype. They stereotype. They say, Shangjali sanga hotel ma baas pasnu paryo bhane muठी बाँधेर सुत्नु. के गर्छ रे राति ल्याप्चा लगाइदिन्छ खाली कागजमा घर लैदिन्छ. See the stereotype. See, this is wrong. This is wrong. Other people who are stereotyped in Nepal are Japali. Japalis are highly stereotyped. I never forget somebody advising me, Japako केटीसँग बिहा पनि नगर्नु, झापामा छोरी पनि नदिनु. I said, किन त्यस्तो? Then he says, कुन बेला छोड्छ थाहै हुँदैन. See, this is stereotype. And this is wrong. This is wrong. Another stereotype, if you come from Koilali, far west, you are Lato, Sojo. You know nothing. Far western people are stereotyped as gullible and who know nothing. The eastern Nepalese are stereotyped as very cunning and clever. Place. Now, if I say, where is your house? Kahan basau? New Road. It has a meaning. You are rich. You must be rich. Otherwise, New Road kasari घर हुन्छ? तिमी कहाँ बस्छौ? वहाँ लेले, ललितपुरको लेले. Oh, you must be poor. कहाँ बस्छौ वहाँ? Places are associated with cultural identity. Tell me where you come from, I will tell your character, nature, everything, people say. Right? Place. Culture as ancestry and people. For example, if you are a Rai, then you follow Rai culture, right? Your parents teach you, it is our culture. You are a Newar, so you have Newari ancestry, you have culture. You are Marwadi, you have Marwadi ancestry, you have culture, right? Then culture as art and artifact. You go to temples in Kathmandu, you will have sexualized carvings, wood carvings, right? In many temples in Kathmandu, you have sexualized wood carvings, which show sexual activities, right? Art and artifact as culture. Kathmandu is very famous for art and artifact as culture. You have Litsevi time statues, you have Malla time statues, right? Art and artifact. Pali Dhaka Topi, that's art and artifact. Korua, all that. Then culture as capital economic resources. Japan, Tokyo. Where do you live? I live in Tokyo. Then people know, oh, you must be very rich. Because Tokyo is one of the most expensive cities in the world. Where are you from? From Singapore. Where are you from? Nepal. Oh, from a poor country. Where does he work? In South Korea. Oh, he must be rich. Countries are associated with different cultures. Where do you come from? California. Right? Where do you come from? Baitadi. Where Baitadi? Where California. Right? Some countries in the world, they are known for economic resources. Dubai. Oh, I bought a house in Dubai. I bought a flat in Dubai. The moment you say, I have a flat in Dubai, people will think you must come from a rich culture. Right? Then, culture as product. The Barbie girl, the doll, the Barbie doll. Coca-Cola, it's a culture. Pepsi is a culture. Denim is a culture. Levi's is a culture. Nike shoes are a culture. म त नाइकी लगाउँदिनँ, सक्दिनँ, म अफोर्डै गर्न सक्दिनँ. 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 भन्छ. र सुज कतिको हो यो? 2800 को. नाइकी लगायो भने 28,000 पर्छ नि त. मैले नाइकी लगाएँ भने तिमीले मलाई एटिट्युडै फरक हुन्छ. उसले नाइकी लगाउनु भएको छ. रिच हुनुपर्छ. राइट? यो मेरो कोट कति हो? 17 वर्ष पुरानो हो. आज मात्रै लगाएको, धेरै पछि लगाएँ मैले. 17 year पुरानो हो. Right? Culture as product. Then culture as politics and ideology. China, let's say a socialist country. America, a democrat country. And look how they are fighting. What does America believe? America believes that the world should follow democracy and we are the father of democracy, America says. Though Britain is father of democracy, right? Parliamentary democracy. And China says, no, we have our own form of democracy, and they fight. Culture as politics and ideology. Culture as psychology, worldview, style of thinking and speaking. How I look at the world, my attitude, that also forms a culture, right? Then, culture as performance, Jatra in Nepal, Newari culture. Newari culture is highly culture as performance. Newar people have Jatra almost every week. Right? Some celebrations every week, every day, performance. See that, what dance? Name some dance, Newari dances. Kartik Nach, Hanuman Nach, other dances I don't know. Right? Culture as group identity, teacher. So I will favor the teacher. The Blue Diamond Society in Nepal, that's a group identity. The third gender people come together. right? So this is the meaning of culture. So what does she do? I taught you quickly. She defines culture. She defines culture. So I stop here. Now I will assign presentations. So where is the attendance sheet? Did you mark attendance? No? Yusuf will make the presentation on his topic, Kripa Aryal. Where is Kripa? So you will present on this one. Culture and the campus problem. This topic for you. Or let's say culture and the campus problem. Kripa, right? Next is step 2. Who is Nishay Baral? Anshu Basaneth. You made it last time, right? Who is Rojan Basaneth? Rojan. Prithak Bandari. Absent. Ayush Bhatta. You will make presentation on this one. Step 2. Step 2. Ayush. Then who is Anshu Bhusal? You will make on step 3. Anshu Bhusal, step 3. Step 3. Complete step, all. Anshu Bhusal, step 3. It's a long step. Then who is Sonia Devju? Step 4. Step 4. Cyrus Gautraj. Step 5. Step 5. Shubhamshu Gautam. Shubhamshu. Saurabh Kanel. Himani Khatri. Step 6. Step 6. Fiona Maharjan. Step 7. Step 7. Riyaz Maharjan. Step 8. Step 8. Satsham Maharjan. Step 9. Sylvia Maharjan. Conclusion. No, step 10. Not 9. 10. We have 10. Step 10. And conclusion. And conclusion. And do not be absent. Do not mail me. Bring in pen drive. Bring your PowerPoint slides in pen drive. Do not mail me. We'll have problem. Thank you.